All right, friends, today we are on the road and we are also talking about bowling. Yes, bowling. So I am somewhere in the vicinity of Lansing, that's about as specific as I can get, at a nondescript industrial park, so the visuals aren't that great. For that, I apologize, but I really wanted to get this down because I think this is super interesting. So over the weekend, I was filling in for bowling for my wife's bowling team with a dear friend of mine. So my buddy John is super good at bowling and I am super bad at bowling, but he was giving me some great tips, and as we're watching the team we're playing against, the guy that we're competing against is doing that thing where he throws the ball super high and it goes halfway down the lane and then lands and spins out of control and hits some pins. And he says to me, "You know what's wrong with that?" And I'm like, "Well, sort of. You probably shouldn't throw a bowling ball." He's like, "No, you're not letting the ball do the work. Tell me more." He goes, "Well, what's inside of a bowling ball?" I'm like, I have no idea, a core of some sort, but I have no idea. He goes, "Well, it looks like a fist. And since it's Avengers weekend, it looks like Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet. And as it goes down the lane, when it gets to a certain point, the core flips over. So the heavy part flips over, it turns, and boom, there goes all the pins, right? So if you're throwing the ball up in the air, you're wasting all that inertia. You're trying to fight physics, which anyone who's science-minded knows that's probably a bad idea. What does that mean for you? Again, glad you asked. We've been spending a lot of time talking about your brand and storytelling. And in fact, yesterday we talked about sequential storytelling and the Avengers. And what this has to do with bowling is the guy who's throwing the ball up in the air, he's trying to cheat the system, right? So how many people do you bump into as they're building their brand or building their content play, want to know how they can make their thing go viral? What's the fastest way for me to build an audience? Well, that's you throwing the bowling ball up in the air and not letting it do the work. When instead, we should keep bowling game after game, frame after frame, and eventually we figure out how that ball works. And we know exactly when it's going to turn over and hit the pins. We know exactly what sort of content to make in order to pull the levers of our customers and get them to engage. We know how to do that because we've done it over and over and over again. We've learned the lane. We've learned how it acts. We learned where the ball is going to break because we've paid so much attention to what that lane is like and how that lane works. And then what's awesome about this job, and one of the reasons I love to get up and do this every single day, is then we move to a different bowling alley or a different lane and we learn it over and over and over again. And we figure out the moment when that ball's gonna turn over and bang into the pins. We don't cheat the system because we don't learn anything when we cheat the system. Sure, every once in a while when the guy's throwing that ball up in the air, he does get a strike, but not all the time. And he leaves a lot of pins on the table because he's trying to cheat the system and move past the lane straight to the goal line. You gotta do the work. That's the thing about content. You gotta do the work. And lots of people I bump into wanna know why they gotta do the work, which is why I talk over and over again how you can build content at scale, because I don't want you throwing the bowling ball up in the air. I want you to use the whole lane, let it turn over and bang into those pins. All right, friends, have an awesome Monday. We'll talk tomorrow.